Everyone online seems to be obsessed with Saie Beauty, especially people with dry skin. So I bought a full face of products to test for myself to see if they're actually worth the money. Some products impressed me, and others left me a little disappointed. So if you want to find out if Saie Beauty works for dry skin over 30, then keep on watching. Hi everybody, my name is Sheila. I'm a mom of 2 kids with dry skin, and I bought a full face of Saie Beauty. So these are all the products that I bought from Saie Beauty, and we're going to go ahead and try them on together. Some of them I have tried before, so they're not first impressions, and others I have not tried. So let's go ahead and just get started putting on makeup. All right, so I'm going to get started with the Saie Glowy Super Gel Lightweight Dewy Multi-Purpose Illuminator. Looks like this. This is a jelly lightweight texture, and it's supposed to provide like illumination on the skin. I would say it's very comparable to Charlotte Tilbury's glowy, primer that she has, or any other, illuminating primer of that kind. So see, as you can see, it provides a ton of radiance to the skin. I don't like to put this product everywhere because I don't like to be glowy everywhere. Like I like just glow on my forehead right here, and then a little bit, on my cheek, a little bit on my cheeks like this, just to go underneath the makeup. So I didn't buy a Saie foundation just because the foundations, they don't really seem to have a lot of great reviews. And just the general consensus is that the foundation can be a little bit greasy looking on the skin. So I didn't really want to go that route and just hate my makeup all day. So instead, I'm just going to use their concealer as a foundation today. The concealer is called the Radiant All Over Concealer Slip Tint. I did get shade 5. Shade 5 was described as a light with peach undertones. So hopefully this works for me. I always like to go with a peachier concealer so that it doubles as a color corrector, but most of the time I don't really get that. So let's give it a try here. So already I can tell that the color is a little bit, no, I guess it is a little bit peach. It's like a peachy yellow shade. So let me go ahead and apply it where I normally would. And again, I'm going to wear this as a foundation since we don't have a foundation. So we're going to go ahead and just put this all over where I like to have some coverage. And we'll just slap this on the face. And then I can always add more if I need more going in. Now with concealer under the eyes, I always like to tap instead of swipe, tap to blend. I'm going to put it anywhere I feel like I need a little bit of cancellation, especially over the eyes. Full transparency, I did not sleep well last night because my kids are sick and they were having a hard time sleeping. So I'm a little bit more tired than normal. So we're going to need this concealer to put in some extra work for me. I'm gonna have to go in with a bigger brush for the face here. I didn't purchase any of the Saie Beauty brushes. They did look really nice, and when I see them online, they look really soft. The problem is I already have so many brushes that I don't feel the need to purchase more brushes from a specific line. But if you have tried their brushes and you do recommend them, let me know down below because I can always be persuaded. So that actually looks really, really, really natural on the skin. I really like that. I don't think that it provided a ton of coverage. Even looking on the monitor, I look a little bit greasy, but that's also the beauty lights really reflecting a lot of that light. But in person, I don't look as glowy. Okay, so far the concealer is looking really, really skin-like and really nice. But I don't necessarily think that it covered the darkness under my eyes because normally I go in with a color corrector to cancel that out. I don't really find that most concealers can cover it on their own. But I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit more concealer to see if I can get a little bit more coverage. But this is a hack if you have dry skin and you find that foundations, they don't look that good on you or they don't feel good when you wear them. You can actually just use a concealer as a foundation. You just apply that concealer anywhere you feel like you need a little bit of coverage. So that didn't add a whole lot of coverage. So I think with this concealer, the most you're going to get is a light medium coverage. It has a very creamy feel. Let's see how it's described online. So this concealer is a lightweight, non-comedogenic concealer with natural, radiant medium coverage, clinically proven to wear 12 hours, smooth and hydrate the skin, and it provides medium coverage and a natural finish. That's kind of interesting. In the description, it says radiant, natural radiance. But yes, I would definitely say similar to an eye cream, that level of radiance that you get, definitely. And it's over my textures and my pores. It's looking relatively smooth. So Saie has a powder, a pressed powder, and I know they also have a loose powder. I don't have the loose powder because it does have a little bit of mixed reviews and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. And I do hesitate going within going in with so many radiant products and then going in with a radiant loose powder, because then I just feel like it might be a little bit much. So I am just going to go in with a little loose powder under my eyes to see if I can settle down a little bit of the shine. And I'm just going to use the Huda Beauty loose powder, which, to be honest with you, is also not my favorite. I haven't really found a loose powder under the eyes that I love for my skin. At least I have a lot of texture. But the tip for this particular powder is you don't want to go in with it a powder puff, because you're going to add too much product. So if you have dry skin or textured skin, that's just going to enhance all of that dryness. So just go in a tiny bit on my brush after I've swirled it around, and then I just kind of add it to the parts that I needed, and that will help set the concealer without necessarily adding too much product under the eyes. I'm going to go in with their bronzer. Now they have a liquid bronzer. Let me show you. Their liquid bronzer is called Dew Bronze Soft Focus Liquid Bronzer. And the shade is Spritz, which I think is the third shade down. Let me pull up the information on the Dew Bronze. So the shade Spritz is a light medium to tan with neutral undertones. And the bronzer is a lightweight buildable liquid cream bronzer that effortlessly blends into the skin for a subtle, defined bronze with a dewy, soft focus finish. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply it. And I'll insert some swatches here, but I'll go ahead and apply it to the skin to see how it looks. Maybe we'll go in with a little bit because I'm not sure how pigmented this is going to be. Okay, I have tried this product before in the shade Sand, which I think is one of the lightest shades that they offer. And it was a little bit too light, like it wasn't really showing up on my skin, so I didn't keep it. This one, it says neutral, that it's a neutral undertone. This has definitely a red undertone to it for sure. So this is with and then without. Almost similar to the Sarah Krill bronzer. Hold on, let me get it. All right, so here we have, this is the Sarah Krill. I mean, let it focus. This is the Sarah Krill bronzer in shade 2. And this is the Saie Beauty Dew Bronze in shade Spritz. And as you can see, they both have that reddish brown undertone, which on my skin tone can be very natural looking. It will show as a very natural bronze. Like if I was to bronze like that in the sun, it looks a little bit better and it blends better with blush when it has a little bit of a red in it. So let me tap that in to finish this bronzy look here. Okay, so that's what we got so far with the bronzer. I'd say that looks pretty good. It does have a kind of a radiant finish. I do know that it dries down a little bit more, so it's not as radiant. It becomes kind of natural. And it looks like kind of like a moussey texture. Overall, I think it is very nice. I'm going to be kind of extra and put it in other places of my face. So let me blend that out and then we'll move on to the blushes. All right, so the next product that I got was the Dew Blush Liquid Cheek Flush, which is their liquid blush in shade Lady, which is supposed to be a nude mauve shade. And I just got the mini because I don't know if I like this product. I have tried it in the shade Chili in the past when it was like first released, and I found it to be extremely sticky. And the problem I have with a very sticky blush is that it will pick up with my sponge. And if you watch my other videos, you know I love a beauty sponge to blend in my makeup, and oftentimes the sponge will pick it up because it's so sticky. So it's not usually my favorite type of product, but I wanted to try it again for this video. And it's described as a blendable and buildable mini liquid cream blush that melts into the cheeks for a dewy wash of color, and it's going to give a dewy finish. So not a natural one like the bronzer. So I'm just going to put a little bit on my hand and pick it up with a brush to see if I like it more applied this way. And I'm just going to place it at the high points of my cheeks. But yeah, I know a lot of people love this product, and I just don't think this product is for me. Even right now, looking at it upon application, it's very, very dewy. And while I have dry skin, I don't like the sensation of the sticky feel. And I also don't like to look overly dewy. That feels like unnatural on my skin. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to get closer. So as you can see, even with the beauty lights, it's very glowy. Let me turn down the light so that you guys can see it a little bit better. See, it's still pretty radiant, so don't love that. But that's okay. We are just testing and playing for fun, so it doesn't really matter, right? The next thing I want to do is I want to set this with powder before I go in with the powder blushes. So I think if I go in right now with the powder blushes, it's just going to grab because everything is pretty sticky. And even the way it feels on the skin is very sticky, so it's not really for me. I think if you had like a very matte look to the skin and you went in with the blush and that was like more like the dewy, glowy part that you bring to the makeup, I think that would be a good balance. but to have so many glowy products and then also a glowy blush and other products, it would just be a lot, I feel. So the next product I'm going to go in with is one of my personal favorites, and I have tried this many times before, is the Slip Tint Undetectable Baked Setting Powder in Translucent 2. And this is just a baked powder. I'll do inserts of close-ups, but essentially just a powder that really doesn't mattify the skin, but it sets down the makeup. So it's really nice if you have like a more radiant or even natural finish product or foundation, and you don't want to take away its radiance or glow, but you just don't like maybe the sensation, that sticky feeling on the face, and you just want to set down the product. This powder product has been really, really nice for that reason. So as you can see, I'm pretty radiant still, but everything set down. And to be honest, now that I went over it with powder, I feel like I lost a lot of the color, the pigment of that blush. Did I not? I feel like I did. So I don't think that blush is for me. If you love that product, let me know if I'm using it wrong, but the powder is definitely great. Moving on to the bronzer, which is one of the newer launches, the Saie SuperSuede Radiant Baked Bronzer, and I have it in shade Amalfi, which is supposed to be light to medium skin tones. So this bronzer is a long-wearing baked powder bronzer that's lightweight and non-comedogenic for blurred bronze skin with a natural radiant finish. I definitely think that it provides a natural finish. I would argue it does not provide a radiant finish, but it's not flat. So it definitely gives you a natural, non-flat finish, but there's no visible like shimmers or glitters. And I'm just gonna press that in the skin. This is a great, very sheer bronzer. Like you have to build it up, which is really nice. I don't personally love really, really pigmented products where you have to be super careful. I like to build up my products to the desired intensity rather than having to blend out something that's like over pigmented. So this product is very nice for that reason. I love it to use it as like almost like a bronze topper because I do find that it's more sheer on my skin tone. If you have lighter skin, it may actually have more pigment on your skin tone, but on me, this is what it gives. And now we're going to go in with the blushes. I have tried these blushes before. These are the SuperSuede Radiant Blush Powders. I have shade Mia and shade Chow. And Mia is a more pinky shade and Chow is a more brown shade. For today's look, which color should we go to? Because I want to wear, would it be too much to put both of them on and see? I feel like we can try them and see how different they look on my face. Why not? Let's give it a go. All right, so I'm going to go in with Mia, which is the pinkier one. And with this blush, I like to use it as a blush topper shade more than a blush by itself. The reason I say that is because when I've built this up in the past, it's very visible on my skin because I have a lot of texture. And because there's definitely more radiance in the blush, if you can see that, than the bronzer. Let me show you by comparison in regards to radiance. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but I'll show you anyway what I mean. But the bronzer is not as radiant as the blush. The blush has a lot more reflection. So when you have a highly reflective product on the skin, it will then bounce off light, which is beautiful, but it will also accentuate any texture you have or dry patches that you have. So you have to be really careful. So with this, I really just like to go in with a cream blush and then set it lightly with something like this. But it is a very pretty color. And you don't need a highlight. As you can see, you're radiating. You don't need to go in with a highlighter at all when you use this blush. It's very, very pretty. And then this other shade is, whoa, picks up quite a bit. That was like 2 dabs. This one is a little bit more of an orange shade. This could be really nice in the summertime, but let's take a look. Yeah. Same thing with this one. It's too much. You have to go really light-handed. They are like sheer in color, but then that reflection, the sheen can go pretty heavy pretty quickly. It is really pretty though on the face. I would say, again, if I had a very matte base and I went in with this, I could see me really liking it. They kind of reminded me of the RMS blushes with that like radiance and reflection. They also remind me a lot of the Hourglass blushes that everybody loves. They have that radiance and that sheen and sort of that blurred radiant finish, definitely. But right now, I just feel a little too glowy. Like there's not much balance on the skin. So let me balance these 2 colors out since I wore both. I'm going to have to go in with Chow with a more orange shade in the back here to try to blend it all together. We'll put some on the eyes. Why not? To try to pull it all together. And then we'll go in with the pinkiest shade on this side to try to even it out as much as we can. You know, obviously, if you were to use these products, you would just go in with one shade. I'm very uncomfortable with the level of shine I have. I feel like I want to give this a fair review. So let me go in with my Givenchy powder, and I'm going to try to just tone down some of this shine. And as you know, dry skin, we don't like so much powder on our face. It doesn't work out well because it just will feel very dry. But I did purchase their brand new setting spray, which I'm super excited about, to see maybe it'll get rid of some of the powder on the face. I mean, I don't know if that helped. All right. So let's go in with their lip liner. I did pick up one of their new shades of lip liner. I have been using the shade Flirt, and I picked up the shade Fox, and you can see I've used it quite a bit, you know. So I do really, really like their lip liners. If you're looking for an affordable lip liner, this one is absolutely wonderful. It's $20 and it works really nice. It lasts really well. It doesn't set down so that you have time to blend it out, but it does wear really well. So I really recommend it. So I'm going to go in with the shade Fox. The shade Fox is a dusty beige, and I will say it is very light. So on my skin tone, this is a little too light. I don't feel like it did that much, and I don't think it's made for my skin tone. But if you have lighter skin than me, you may really enjoy Fox because it has that like brown undertone for sure. And then I'm going to just go in with Flirt in the Cupid's bow just to see if I could define it a little bit more. All right, so I don't have the lip gloss from Saie just because I don't need any more lip products. So I'm just going to go in with some fighters on top to finish up the lips. This is usually what I do on a normal basis. I'll do a lip liner and then I'll some kind of lip gloss and we'll call it a day. All right, so those are all the products for now. And then I have the City Set Lightweight Setting Spray. And this setting spray is a long-lasting, non-comedogenic, and alcohol-free setting spray that hydrates and locks in your makeup for 16 hours with a natural dewy finish. And it's made for oily, dry, and sensitive skin. So here's the thing I'm most excited about. Most setting sprays, they leave my skin feeling very dry because they have alcohol in them. The alcohol and the formulation does help improve longevity, but it will suck the life out of my skin if I'm having a particularly dry skin day. So I was excited about something like this because I'm hoping that it will help melt the powders, but still make my skin feel very flexible and not dry when I move it. The problem with this I'm already foreseeing is that it's saying it has a natural dewy finish. If all your products in your line has a natural dewy finish or radiant finish, then it's too much. There's not enough balance in the line. So I'm not sure how that's going to wear, even if you have dry skin, because like I said, even though we have dry skin, I don't think we want to look sweaty. So let's try the mist. Oh, looks like a very, very good mist. So I'm going to go ahead and spray that. And I want to see if this helps melt down some of those products. I mean, honestly, I think I'm wearing way too much blush. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to put on some mascara and I'm going to come back with my final thoughts. Before I give you my final thoughts, have you tried anything from Saie Beauty? Is there anything that you like that is your holy grail product? Anything you would recommend? Or anything that you didn't like and didn't work for you? I'd love to see what your experience was. And are there any other makeup brands that you want me to review for dry skin? I'm always interested to hear some feedback. And if you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe down below. All right, so here's my final thoughts so far. This is the final look with mascara on, and I am looking extremely radiant, which is not usually what I try to go for. But I'm going to review each product individually and who I think they're for and when I think they would be good for it. Okay, starting with the Glowy Super Gel Dewy Multi-Purpose Illuminator. I've seen people use this as a primer underneath foundation. So I do love this product. I have already used it, most of it, as you can see. And this is a mini and it lasts me forever because I only use a little bit. And it does provide a really beautiful illumination under the skin whenever I go in with a more natural leaning matte foundation. I really enjoy the illumination it brings. And it doesn't break me out and it's very comfortable in the skin, doesn't feel dry or drying. So if you're looking for some type of illuminating product, this is a really nice one. The mini is only $18 and it's very comparable to other products similar to this. I mean, I know Chanel has one, very expensive product. You know, like I mentioned, Charlotte Tilbury has one. So it's a very comparable product, very comfortable on the skin. And I would recommend this if you're looking for that type of like radiant glow underneath makeup. I haven't tried it on top of makeup to see as like a highlight, and I'm afraid to do that now since I'm so glowy, but I'd imagine it could also work that way. Moving on to the concealer. The concealer actually surprised me. It's very pretty on the face, very pretty on top of my texture. There's not a lot of concealers that work under my texture. I find that they enhance or they just sit kind of heavy. This concealer sits very smoothly on my texture. And, it does crease just like every other concealer out there creases. There's no such thing as a completely creaseless concealer. But if you're looking for something that's very similar to the Kosas for regular concealer, the Kohl-Free creamy concealer, this is very much like that. It kind of reminds me of like an eye cream under the eye. Very nice and worked really well all over the skin. Provided a very nice finish over the skin. Light to medium coverage at best. You cannot do full coverage, but it's not advertising full coverage. So I think this is a really nice product. And it's, I think, a newer launch from them as well. Moving on to the bronzer. The bronzer was launched about a year to 2 years ago. And the Dew Bronze is very nice. It provides a dewy finish at first, but then dries down to a more natural finish. And it has a bit of a blurring effect on the skin. It's very nice if you're looking for a glowy bronzer, especially going into summer. You want something more lightweight, but has pigment on the skin. This is a really nice option. And the color was very realistic. The color spritz on my, I would say, light to medium, olive leaning, neutral skin tone. So very nice product. And I would actually recommend this to someone with dry skin. All right. So moving on to the Dew Blush. This is again in the shade Lady. I didn't like this blush when I first tried it, and I tried it again, tried to give it another chance, and I still don't really like it. It's, again, very radiant, very sticky on the skin, and difficult to work with, I find, with other products. I could imagine this being really nice on maybe bare skin, like if you just had the most minimal product and you just want to add some color to the skin, or if you had a very natural matte look on the skin and you just wanted something that was like a blush and highlighter in one type of thing. So I could see that working in that scenario. But ultimately, I don't think this product is for me, and I don't really love it on my skin. I wish it had more of a natural finish on the skin instead. Moving on to the powders. I absolutely love this powder. I don't usually like the powder look on my skin. I find that this Saie translucent powder is very comparable to the Hourglass setting powders. Specifically, Hourglass setting powder in the shade Soft Light. It provides a very beautiful blurred finish on the skin, and it sets down all of your liquid products so that it doesn't have that tacky feel, but it still leaves behind that natural finish that the products below it had. So if you're wearing a radiant foundation, it stays radiant. Natural foundation stays, natural. So it doesn't mattify the skin, which is perfect for dry skin. I very much enjoy this product and haven't really found anything other than the Hourglass that's quite so similar to this one. So the bronzer, again, is a very beautiful bronzer. I love to use this to set down a cream bronzer underneath because there's not a whole lot of pigment on initial swipe. Like, you really do have to build this up on the skin for it to show if you're my skin tone. So even like in a single swipe, as you can see, it really doesn't show a lot of color, which is nice, again, when you're just trying to set your cream bronzer with something, but you don't necessarily want to add like another product or too much pigment, I should say. If you use this by itself, you definitely have to build it up a little bit. And it does provide a nice lit from within, glowy finish, more of a blurred effect on the skin. Again, very similar to Hourglass powders. So really nice if you can find a color or shade that you like. The powder blushes, these got a lot of hype when they came out, and they are really beautiful. Again, very similar to the Hourglass blushes. They have more of that radiant finish to them, more so than the bronzer and definitely more than the powder, but they provide a nice glow to the skin and they last really long on the skin. So I highly recommend if you want like a one and done type of blush. If you find a shade that you like in this line, it's going to be really pretty on skin, not drying. It's not a drying powder when you put it on and then you feel it kind of tight on the skin. Definitely not that. So for dry skin, this is a great blush option if you like any of the shades and you like more of a glowy blush finish. The lip liner, although I didn't love the shade Fox on my skin tone, the lip liner formula is wonderful. Again, it's very creamy. It blends out really well and then it sets down. So it wears pretty long time and a very affordable option. If you're looking for a new lip liner, this is a great option. The last product that I tried today is the SuperSuede setting spray. Now, this one is very nice. It definitely feels hydrating. My skin doesn't feel tight. Like when I go in with the Makeup by Mario setting spray, if I go in with Charlotte Tilbury setting spray, if I go in with Urban Decay all-nighter spray, those make my skin feel so tight and uncomfortable. And I usually reserve those for special occasions. This one felt like spraying water on my face. I would say it's extremely similar in feel to the Kosas setting spray. It feels very hydrating on the skin. Do I think that this is going to increase longevity for 16 hours? I don't know, but I can leave a comment letting you know if my makeup wore longer than normal. Using this, I'm going to have to try it with my tried and true products a little bit, and then I can give you a follow-up regarding the setting mist. But so far, it feels really pleasant on the face. It doesn't have any scent at all, and the mister is very fine and very even on the skin. And it definitely did a good job in melting all of the powder products that I put on my skin. My skin doesn't look powdery at all. It just looks extremely radiant. All right, and so that's my final review of a full face of Saie Beauty. Some hits and some misses. What is your favorite product right now for dry skin? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. And if you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.